size hail expected now in Boston.
All right, well, the storms have come and the storms have gone. This is what the garden's looking like afterwards. If you know anything about soil structure, aggregates, agriculture, any of those things, you knew what I was doing to that dirt. Turn it into that fine powder increases the risk of erosion exponentially, right? And I was hoping that by going this way, these furrows here would slow the water down. But as you look down through there, you can see that that did not happen. And down here, when I came in this last pass, I knew this was going to happen. And you can see that the soil has washed all the way down and clear out here into the field. And so I've just lost that. As we come over here towards the middle of the garden, you can see there's soil all the way down here in this field. And it has come from here. It's washed down through there and carried all that soft, fine, powdery stuff right down, all the way down to here into the field. So unfortunately that soil is just lost. We've got more rain coming day after tomorrow, and it's supposed to rain off and on for about 4 or 5 days straight. One day we're supposed to get, I think, like 1.75 inches over the course of just a couple of hours. And so that says it's gonna be a heavy, heavy rain, which is really gonna cause some erosion problems. So what I've got to do is see if I can mitigate that before the rain gets here. To do that, I need the bucket. I've got the forks off of the tractor. We're gonna hook up to this, go dump this, see if we can fix this garden before that rain gets here. Good grief. All right, y'all. Of course, I forgot to plug the camera in and the battery died just as I got started here, but What we've done is basically put a swale in right here. Dug out a little bit here, piled it up on the downside, so hopefully anything that runs down just goes right in there and sits.
Middle Tennessee and parts of Kentucky. We've got multiple severe thunderstorm warnings in effect right now. One of them's got golf ball size hail and 60-mile-per-hour winds up there in Tennessee. Another one's got quarter size hail and 60-mile-per-hour winds over here in Kentucky. We just got a new one in Tennessee. This one gets us a little bit closer to Nashville. You seeing this? Quarter size hail expected now in Boston, up to Franklin, Brentwood Point, up towards Brentwood. I think that that's going to be moving right up towards you there. Dylan, let's get a bunch of these SmartWay cameras in your monitoring tab here. I'll suggest one, and you can kind of just go from there, and then watch these as the storm gets closer. This is going to be a nasty one coming over Interstate 65. We're here in Spring Hill. Cheryl, I saw that. I actually saw a chat. Yeah, Spring Hill. It's coming for you over there. The biggest part of the hail core is probably going to go to your north. But to be honest, the rotating part of the storm, if this was for whatever reason going to try to produce a tornado today, that part of the storm is actually going to go closer to Spring Hill.
Well, y'all, I checked this a little bit ago, and this was dry down here, but it did definitely have a lot of silt in it from last night's rain. And then I got run out of here by a big storm, high potential for a tornado. Came right over the ridge here, so it ran me clear off the ridge, and I had to just vacate the premises. And you can see we've got water actively running downhill from the rain that it just dumped, and it did fill up our swale or our ditch, whatever you want to call it here, and it is full of silt, sediment, real super fine stuff, all the stuff that I did not want to lose. Houston, we got a problem. It did not hold, and we've lost a bunch down in here. Yeah, it come a gully washer for sure and just breached our dam there. But I do think a lot of that sediment and stuff had settled down in here, and we're just seeing some overflow from water. I mean, obviously, if your water's brown like this, you've got some fines that are suspended in that water leaking out on you. I may grab a shovel here and see if I can just dig some out of here and pile up in here as a stopgap. Now, I checked this earlier, and it had not breached. So that happened just in the last 20 minutes. And I'm going to tell you, with that storm that just came through, the temperature's probably dropped 20 degrees. It was in the 80s, mid 80s earlier. And I'm gonna say it's probably in the mid to upper 60s. It is definitely cooler. And of course, anytime you get a heavy temperature transition like that, you're gonna get thunderstorms and an increased chance for tornadoes. But it is nice and still now. Looks like the sky's even trying to clear out back here behind us. But you can see it's still not done. That drainage came down and went right straight down here, and it had this great big ditch washed out in here. So we've been able to stop that completely. There was a little berm right here that forced that water to go that way. Go up the hill a little bit, spread out, collect with this other feeder, and then work its way around and on down. This thing, over the course of last night, has completely rerouted itself. It just completely redistributed all of that. I imagine a bunch of this is probably washed down from up high and settled, and it has forced its way out and around all the way down through here, down here into this little flat area where it spreads out, slows way down, and then just slowly makes its way on over to the feeder creek. Let's go look at that. Oh, before we do, this is the whole point of slowing that water down. You've got a bunch of heavy stuff, real coarse rock, gravelly stuff, and then you get into a place like this where all this woody debris and leaves and stuff is stacked up. and it really slows that down, and all that sediment just stops right there. Look here, super fine, silty, sedimenty stuff that we don't want washing down and off our farm. Cool stuff, man. So where we were standing, it was just right up here. Now water is coming down in here, working its way down. Now what I don't like is that it does spread out in here, but then it recollects into one funnel right here. And you can see we've got some fast moving water. That is eventually going to cut that bank and cut that bank and cut that bank, and we're going to end up with a big gully like we had up there. So we're going to have to do some work in here to try and spread this back out some, maybe redirect some of it over to here and create maybe 2 or 3 or 4 of these little channels instead of having just one big one. You see how there's vegetation, vegetation, no vegetation. This is active erosion right here. Several videos ago, I piled this, well technically this was already here, but then all these limbs and sticks and stuff facing this way, I piled all those there intentionally to see what would happen, and you can see that it did in fact collect a whole lot of debris. You got smaller twigs and branches and stuff and lots of leaves and just woody debris and stuff caught in there. And you can see that it has kind of diverted some of that water and slowed it down. There's a whole bunch of, I won't call it fine, but really small gravelly stuff. There are some fines in there, but a little sandbar here just upstream of it from where the water slowed down and caused all that sediment to settle in there. Appreciate y'all joining us. We're getting mighty close to hitting that monetization benchmark. We just need a few more of you to smash that subscribe button down below, and we can start earning some revenue off these videos instead of YouTube keeping it all. Hope y'all have a great week. We'll see you on the next one. Bye.